Yeah, so the authority is vested in the same kind of answer that I gave in the last question regarding whether or not you can close certain types of amenities. In a sense, that really is an amenity to say, well, you can have guests, you can have contractors. Of course, under normal circumstances, you really can't close those down, so it's a little different than amenities, but the same kind of rule applies, and that is the governing documents are going to give the boards a great deal of discretion in most instances to restrict human traffic, whether it's contractors, guests, things of that nature. And then also too, if they don't, there's a general rule of law that the associations are kind of quasi-governmental institutions, and they can look out for the safety, health, and well-being of the community at large. And because of that authority, I have seen associations that say, okay, we're going to restrict guests that are coming, especially in the state of Florida, where there was a big push to try and keep the traffic from New York and New Jersey away, because that was a hot spot of the coronavirus, and there's a lot of, what we call snowbirds down here. And then, there was a big push to try people from coming, and associations would ask me if they could do it. And, my question, of course, was that this is new, so I don't know. Are you able to do it under the public safety, health, and welfare? Well, you're not restricting owners from coming in. You're not restricting tenants that are there from coming in. And if they ask to do that, then that I would most definitely say you can't do that, because you can't restrict the occupancy. Could you enforce a shutdown? Well, you're not really a governmental agency, so I think that would be difficult. Most of them followed what the state did anyway, and we're kind of off of that path. Who knows, it may go back in, depending on what the governor's office does. But the issue with that and contractors, I did have some associations where contracting work was being done, and all of a sudden they said, no more. And then what I would do is have them look at it on a case-by-case basis and say, look, how much longer is this person going to have to finish? And how many contractors are there? Well, there's 2, and both of them are going to be done within 3 days. And say, well, you may want to let them finish, because you may get a lawsuit from the people that, especially if their home is uninhabitable, because of the fact that this contracting isn't done, and you only got 2 of them, you can do it quick. But if you got 10 of them, and they may take a year, then I think that the board has a much greater chance of coming out on top if that issue is litigated, if they were to shut that down. So the answer is it depends. And the answer is it's going to depend on how judges and arbitrators look at this. And it depends on the factual scenario. Lawyers can only look at kind of the factual scenarios and go, based on this factual scenario, I think you got a good chance of winning. Based on this, you got a good chance of losing. But also, too, the lawyers are going on past case law, and I think there's going to be a whole new line of case law coming. So you can't just say, well, in the past, this is how it was handled, because there are analogies, but they're probably not real apt at this point. We haven't had a pandemic in modern American society where the judicial branch had to deal with this. And so it's going to be new for everybody.